The gym doors burst open at exactly 4:37 in the afternoon. March 11th, 1993. Tulsa, Oklahoma. 12 men walked into Morrison's boxing academy wearing boots, shaved heads, and swastika tattoos visible on their necks and forearms. They weren't there to train. They were there to send a message. Tommy Morrison was in the ring sparring with a local heavyweight, working combinations, sweat pouring down his face. His trainer, James "Doc" Williams, a 62-year-old black man who'd trained champions for 40 years, stood ringside calling out instructions. Doc had trained Morrison since he was 17, turned him from a street brawler into a legitimate contender, taught him everything he knew about the sweet science. They weren't just trainer and fighter. They were family. The lead skinhead, a man named Derek Kraus, walked straight to the ring. He was 6'4", maybe 240 pounds, covered in prison tattoos, with eyes that had seen violence and enjoyed it. He didn't ask permission. He didn't wait for acknowledgement. He just started talking loud enough for everyone in the gym to hear. "Hey, Morrison, we got a problem with your setup here." Tommy stopped mid-combination, turned toward the voice. Doc put a hand on the rope, already sensing trouble. "What kind of problem?" Tommy's voice was flat, dangerous. Derek smiled, gestured at Doc. The kind where a white fighter shouldn't be taking orders from a colored trainer. Makes us sick to watch. "You're embarrassing your race, boy." The gym went silent. 20 people training, everyone stopped, everyone watching. Tommy climbed out of the ring slowly, deliberately. He was 6'2", 220 pounds of muscle and bad intentions. His record was 45 wins, 3 losses, 39 knockouts. He'd killed a man in the ring once accidentally, but the power in his hands was undeniable. "Say that again." Derek didn't hesitate. "I said, your trainer's a problem. We represent the Aryan Brotherhood in this region. 12 of us. We're giving you a chance to fix this situation voluntarily. Fire the old man, get yourself a proper white trainer, and we'll leave you alone. Otherwise, we're going to make life very difficult for everyone here." Doc stepped forward. "Tommy, it's fine. I'll leave. Don't give these boys what they want." Tommy didn't look at Doc. He kept his eyes locked on Derek. "You've got about 10 seconds to get out of my gym before this becomes something you regret." Derek laughed. The 11 men behind him laughed too, spreading out, surrounding the ring, making sure Morrison understood they had numbers. "We don't scare, Morrison. We're the Brotherhood. We've done time. We've killed people. You're just a boxer with a couple wins. You think you can fight all 12 of us?" Tommy's jaw tightened. Doc grabbed his arm. "Tommy, please, let them go. These aren't smart men. They're not worth it." But Tommy was already moving. What happened next lasted 7 minutes. 7 minutes that 12 skinheads would remember for the rest of their shortened lives. 7 minutes that taught them the difference between prison yard violence and a professional fighter who'd grown up bare-knuckle boxing in trailer parks, who'd survived street fights before he could legally drive, who had the kind of power in his fists that could literally end lives. Tommy Morrison walked toward Derek Kraus. No posturing, no warning, just walked forward and threw a straight right hand that landed on Derek's jaw with the sound of a baseball bat hitting concrete. Derek dropped instantly, completely unconscious before he hit the ground. His brain shut off mid-thought. Out cold. The other 11 hesitated for maybe half a second. Then they rushed forward. Big mistake. The first one to reach Tommy was a younger skinhead named Carl, maybe 25, built like a linebacker. He threw a wild haymaker. Tommy slipped it, stepped inside, and drove an uppercut into Carl's solar plexus that lifted him off his feet. Carl collapsed, gasping, unable to breathe, ribs cracked, diaphragm paralyzed. He'd spend the next 3 minutes on the floor trying to remember how lungs worked. 2 more came from the left. Tommy pivoted, caught the first one with a left hook that shattered his orbital bone, spun him completely around. The second one grabbed Tommy from behind, tried to lock his arms. Tommy drove his head backward, broke the man's nose with his skull, then dropped his weight and threw him over his shoulder. The skinhead hit the canvas hard. Tommy followed up with a stomp to the ribs. The crack was audible across the gym. 4 down in under 90 seconds. 8 to go. The remaining skinheads tried to coordinate, tried to use their numbers. 3 rushed from different angles. Tommy was faster. He'd been training for a title fight, was in the best shape of his life, could throw combinations for 12 rounds without slowing. These men were street thugs. Tough, sure, but not trained, not conditioned, not professional. Tommy caught the first with a jab that broke his nose, followed with a right cross that put him on the canvas. The second got close enough to throw a punch. Tommy blocked it, countered with a body shot that collapsed the man's liver. He went down vomiting. The third managed to tackle Tommy. Both men hit the ground. Wrong move. Tommy had wrestled in high school, knew ground fighting. He reversed position in seconds, mounted the skinhead, and started throwing hammer fists. After the 4th shot, the man went limp. 5 more standing. They were backing up now, realizing this wasn't a fight they could win. One of them pulled a knife, a 6-inch blade, held it out like he knew how to use it. Tommy stood up slowly. The gym had cleared out. Just Tommy, Doc, and the 12 skinheads, 7 unconscious or unable to move, 5 still standing, but terrified. Doc stepped forward again. "Tommy, that's enough." They learned. Tommy looked at the knife, looked at the man holding it. "You pull a knife in a fist fight, you better be ready to use it, because I'm about to take it from you and teach you what happens when you threaten my family." The skinhead's hand was shaking. Behind him, his 4 friends were edging toward the door. Tommy walked forward. The skinhead slashed, wild, desperate. Tommy caught his wrist, twisted. The knife clattered to the floor. Then Tommy went to work. Left hook to the body. Right uppercut. Left hook again. The skinhead tried to cover up, but Tommy's punches went through his guard like it wasn't there. After 8 shots, the man dropped. Tommy turned to the remaining 4. Anyone else? The 4 ran, sprinted for the door, left their friends unconscious on the gym floor, ran into the parking lot and kept running. Tommy watched them go. Then he looked down at the 7 bodies on his gym floor. Derek was still out cold. Carl was crying, holding his ribs. 3 others were conscious, but not moving, too hurt, too scared, too broken. Doc called the police. They arrived 18 minutes later. Found 7 skinheads scattered across the boxing gym, all injured, some seriously. The officers recognized the tattoos immediately, knew exactly who these men were. The Aryan Brotherhood had been operating in Tulsa for 5 years, running drugs, extortion, violence. The police had files on all 12 of them: assault, armed robbery, hate crimes, attempted murder. The lead officer, Sergeant Mike Reynolds, surveyed the scene. Then he looked at Tommy. "What happened here?" "They came to threaten my trainer," Tommy said. "Told me to fire him because he's black. Said they'd make life difficult if I didn't comply. I disagreed with their assessment." Reynolds looked at Doc. "That true?" Doc nodded. 12 of them walked in, started making threats, using racial slurs, intimidating everyone. Tommy defended his gym. Reynolds was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled out his notepad. "Here's what's going to happen. These men are going to the hospital. Then they're going to jail for criminal trespass, assault, and hate crime charges. You, Morrison, are going to file a complaint, and then we're all going to forget that 7 men got the hell beat out of them by one boxer, because honestly, they had it coming. The ambulances came, loaded up Derek Kraus with a fractured jaw, broken in 3 places, wired shut for 8 weeks. Carl with 4 broken ribs and a ruptured spleen, emergency surgery, 6 weeks recovery. The one with the shattered orbital, permanent vision damage, lost sight in his left eye. The one who got thrown, broken collarbone and concussion. The one who pulled the knife, broken nose, fractured cheekbone, 8 stitches. The other 2, various injuries, all hospitalized. The 4 who ran, they didn't get away clean either. Reynolds put out a bulletin. All 4 were arrested within 72 hours, charged with conspiracy to commit hate crimes, criminal trespass, and terroristic threatening. Every single one of the 12 skinheads went to prison. Derek Kraus got 7 years. The others got between 3 and 5 years each. But that wasn't the end of it. Because while they were in prison, word spread about what happened. 12 Aryan Brotherhood members walked into a gym to intimidate a black trainer and got destroyed by one man in 7 minutes. The story became legend in the prison system. Not the kind of legend they wanted, the kind that made them jokes, the kind that got them targeted by other inmates who saw them as weak, as failures, as men who talked big but couldn't back it up. Derek Kraus got stabbed in prison by a rival gang. Survived, but lost a kidney. Carl got beaten so badly by his own cellmate that he requested protective custody. The others faced constant harassment, constant challenges, constant reminders that they'd been humiliated by a single boxer who'd defended his black trainer. Tommy Morrison never spoke about it publicly, but in the boxing world, the story spread. A fighter who stood up for his trainer when no one would have blamed him for walking away. A man who chose loyalty over safety, principle over pragmatism. Doc Williams trained Tommy for 6 more years, through his WBO heavyweight title win, through his highest peaks and lowest valleys, until Morrison's career ended. In 1997, 4 years after the gym incident, a reporter asked Morrison about it during an interview. "Mr. Morrison, there's a story that you fought 12 skinheads who threatened your trainer. Is that true?" Tommy was 38 years old, retired, fighting HIV, but his eyes still had that same dangerous edge. "It's true. They came to my gym. They disrespected Doc. They made threats. I handled it. Some people said you went too far. That 7 men ended up in the hospital." Tommy leaned forward. "They came 12 deep to threaten a 62-year-old man because of the color of his skin. They pulled a knife. They told me to fire the man who'd been like a father to me. You want to know if I went too far? I went exactly as far as necessary. Not 1 inch further. Every single one of them walked out of that gym alive. They got off light, but wasn't violence the wrong answer? Couldn't you have called the police first?" Tommy smiled, but there was no humor in it. "I did call the police. After, because here's the reality. If I'd called the police first, those 12 men would have left. Come back later. Hurt Doc when I wasn't around. Burned down the gym. Escalated. The only language men like that understand is violence. Not the threat of it, the reality of it. They came looking for a fight. I gave them exactly what they wanted, just not the outcome they expected. What about the ones who ran? The 4 who escaped? They didn't escape. They got caught, got charged, went to prison. But here's what's important. After that day, not one single Aryan Brotherhood member ever came near my gym again. Not one. For 6 years, until I retired, Doc Williams trained fighters in that gym in peace. No threats, no intimidation, no problems. You want to know why? Because 12 men learned a lesson in 7 minutes, and they told everyone who'd listen. Don't mess with Morrison. Don't threaten his people. The cost is too high. The reporter asked one more question. Do you think what you did was justice or just revenge? Tommy thought about it for a long moment. I think justice is what happens when the system works. When people follow laws and everyone gets treated fairly, and consequences are appropriate to actions. But we don't live in that world. Not always. Sometimes the system fails. Sometimes the police can't protect you. Sometimes the only thing standing between good people and bad people is the willingness to fight back. Was it justice? Maybe not legally, but morally? Doc Williams trained champions for 40 more years after that day, helped hundreds of young fighters, made a difference in a lot of lives. If I hadn't fought that day, he might have been killed. His gym might have been destroyed. All those future fighters, never trained, never helped. So you tell me, was saving his life justice or revenge? The interview ended there, but the story lived on, passed through boxing gyms like gospel. 12 skinheads thought they could intimidate an old black trainer, thought they had the numbers, thought their hate and their violence made them powerful. 7 minutes later, 7 were unconscious, 4 were running, and 12 were heading to prison. One fighter, 7 minutes. One message that lasted decades. Touch my family, and I'll put you in the hospital. Threaten my trainer, and you'll regret every second of it. Tommy Morrison wasn't the biggest heavyweight, wasn't the most technical. But when it came to protecting the people he loved, he was absolutely the most dangerous. The 12 skinheads learned that lesson the hardest way possible. And the boxing world remembered. If this story made you think about loyalty, real loyalty when everything's on the line, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment. Was this justice or just violence? When hate comes to your door with 12 men and swastika tattoos, what's the right response? Where's the line between defense and assault? Turn on notifications. Remember Tommy Morrison, 1969 to 2013. The fighter who stood up when others would have backed down. The man who proved that sometimes one person with courage is worth more than 12 with hate. Rest in power.